Hey, yo, you want to talk a little bit about Rocky, No? They got like this movie coming out. It's called like Rocky 8, Creed 2, Rocky 4.5, man. It's gonna rock. No. Welcome everybody to Midnight's Edge. That's my really shitty Sylvester Stallone impression. With me is Mecha Random42.
Hello. God, it sounded better than Stallone, to be honest. I couldn't understand a word he was saying.
You gotta keep going forward. If you go forward, then you're not going back. Because if you're
That's
going
closer.
back, that's the way you don't want to go. you know. So no, I yeah. So there, we've had a couple trailers drop. One late last night, in the middle of the night, and we're going to talk about that. And we're also going to talk about the one that I'm really excited to see. So let's talk about that real quick first, since most people aren't going to want to hear what we think about that anyway. So we'll get that out of the way while people are still coming in.
Yeah.
Creed 2 looks amazing. I'm more on board with this one than I was with Creed.
Yeah, it looks well. They're doing those little nostalgia hints and the nostalgia heartstring pulls. I saw the last trailer for it in front of the Meg, and when they showed the kid that Creed has to like fight against, and they showed the back of his robe and it said Drago, everybody in my theater just gasped. They're like, oh, they're really doing that. They're really bringing back. They're really going there. So for this new trailer, they actually showed Dolph Lundgren, and yeah, it looks very much. It's giving me the Cobra Kai feels a little bit. I think.
Yeah. I thought this is probably going to be one of my surprise favorites of the year. I think. I wasn't too sure at first. I'm like, I don't know. This might be taking it just a bit too far, because that's where Rocky 4 got in the end. It was like this was like as far as you can take it before it gets overly ridiculous. To where when they tried to bring it back in part 5, it was just like a lot of people were like, you know.
Yeah.
After they waited a while, brought him back with Rocky Balboa, then people are like, okay, all right, this is the Rocky 5 we should have waited for. But and then Creed came along and it was a surprise. I think a lot of people weren't expecting it. I don't think a lot of people went into it with any ill will, but they were just like, I don't know. Is it really going to be that kind of connective tissue or not? And I love how it is basically just like another straight sequel. Like, yeah, time has passed, things have happened since Rocky Balboa, but it acknowledges everything that came before it,
Mm-hmm.
and we still are here as well. Um,
Yeah,
so
and
that's what I like about these.
that's what you really have to do too. You really have to like give the fans some sort of you have to give something for the old fans on all these movies. You can't just make every single sequel or reboot about all the new characters. You got to give them
Right.
something, and I think these movies do a very good job of kind of connecting the past films to the current films, unlike a lot of the Star Wars stuff or Star Trek or any of those.
Yeah,
But
because they pay a lot of respect and homage to the past. And I mean, I wasn't too happy at first that they, like, losing Adrian kind of bothered me. It's like, she's still alive. Why do that? But then when I saw the story, I understood a little more. Like, it was almost like Rocky needed to be on his own. And the only support he had was, his brother-in-law, and his kid didn't really want nothing to do with him anymore. And, he just kind of was this washed up boxer that nobody wanted anything to do with. And then all of a sudden, he's hot in a video rematch deal. And they're like, oh, maybe he can do it. And George Foreman kind of did the same thing in real life. So it made sense. And it was a fun movie. And then I'm like, well, that was that. There's nothing else to tell. And then, like, oh, they're bringing Creed's son into it. Well, wouldn't he be like 40 some years old? Like, I
yeah.
don't know about that. And I mean, they kind of made it work.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, you can fudge the age a little. You can kind
well,
of
they have him as an
pretend.
illegitimate son, and he is a little older, and
Yeah.
he's kind of been on the outskirts of this boxing thing for years, and he's just never had somebody to show him the way.
Hmm.
And I wasn't too sure about Felicia Rashad, I think that's her name, being recast as the mother slash ex the widow of Apollo, but she works. It works. I see why they needed somebody a little stronger than what we had before, because before all she ever really did was cry and you know,
Yeah.
say, "Go get him, Rocky." That's about it. So it's like, yeah. I mean, she didn't really have much of a part in the other movies to where I guess it didn't really matter to recast her. But yeah, no, other than that, I mean, these movies have always paid a lot of homage to the past and made sure that the cast, for the most part, stayed together and the stories always made sense. And I didn't hate Rocky Five. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I didn't hate it. And that was one of the only ones that kind of ignored one of the little aspects of it is he did kind of get some brain damage from that. I mean, that's kind of obvious.
Yeah.
But it's like they kind of almost didn't really mention that too much in Rocky Balboa, but at least they still acknowledge his entire past though in some way, shape, or form. So yeah. What do you guys think out there? Did you enjoy it? I've seen some people say they liked it the way it looked and they're looking forward to it. So
Yeah, Joker79 says Rocky Balboa was a great film, and why I worried about Creed, or was a great film, and why I worried about Creed, but was happy with Creed and now Creed 2.
yeah, that's the way I felt too. I was like, I don't know. They're really gonna go this route. Like it seemed like that bad idea some guy gets right after you see a movie. You're like, oh, now they should have their kids fight. It's like,
Yeah, but
oh, I don't know.
yeah, well, and a lot of that I hate keep bringing up Cobra Kai, but a lot of that's what they're doing in Cobra Kai too. They're having the kids fight, and they're swapping who's training who, and
And at first I was like, oh no, this is gonna go off the rails. But they actually managed to kind of rein it in. My only complaint was those last few episodes of Cobra Kai felt like they were rushing to get to the tournament. It was
yeah,
like, okay, we spent all this time setting all this up. Now we got to rush to get to this, instead of actually taking the time like they had been because they only had so many episodes that they were doing it in. But now, see, Film Fantastic says he stopped with Rocky 3. That's bad because Rocky 4 is actually really good. Rocky 5 is okay, and Rocky Balboa is amazing. So
oh, who doesn't remember the Rocky 4 trailer? I still remember the line from the trailer. I what was that? Yeah.
Rocky single-handedly ended the Cold War.
Yeah, exactly. Like that was so much a part of the 80s. That's like
If we could just stop hating each other and loving each other a little more, we can start getting along and we'd be together. That's the end of Rocky 4, and everybody's like, yeah, let's stop hating the Russians. Rocky kicked their ass.
God, that was such an iconic pop culture moment. I mean,
well, it was because it was all like just timed perfectly.
yeah. Well, what year was that? I can't even remember what year. It was later,
84,
right?
85.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
85. Yeah, it was all pretty much all around the same time. When the Cold War kind of came to a head, and I mean, as much people don't want to really think about it, I think that movie had a lot more impact on the whole thing than people think it did.
Yeah.
But
yeah, 1985, just looking.
yeah, I knew it was somewhere around there. But it was to me, the Rocky films were almost like soap opera for men.
Yeah, kind of. They were definitely
romance movies.
And it's nice that they're not like trying to pander to women. I mean, yes, you have this strong character in the trailer. We have Tessa Thompson coming in as, as being this really focused on,
which I think she was in the last one.
Yeah, and it's very much this family dynamic sort of thing, but it's still a guy's movie, and they're not trying to. I hate using the term. They're not trying to SJW it. They're not trying to do a whole lot of crap that a lot of these movies do nowadays.
They're not trying to make Rocky PC or anything like that. No way.
Yeah, and yeah, still. And that's one of the things that I think they're really doing well with some of these movies. And we always complain about the movies that do it horribly and that gender swap or do all these pandering things. But we always kind of overshadow the movies and the shows that do it right. So
that's very true.
With that.
And like I said, this could have went off the rails with the last one, and I was surprised they didn't. So I'm really looking forward to this, and I think I'm going to enjoy it more than I did the first Creed movie or the whatever it is, seventh Rocky movie. and Creed subverted my expectations in good ways. I expected a lot of things, and it set a lot of things up to where you're like, oh, okay, I know where this is going to go. And it didn't. It kind of flip-flopped on a few things, and you're like, oh, okay. Kind of the same way Rocky Balboa did. So, I mean, Stallone and his gang and people in Coogler, they never got really a lot of credit for, I mean, it got some notice, but I don't think it got as much notice as it could have or should have. Same thing with Rocky Balboa, but I'm looking forward to it. So, Yeah. Let's talk about the one everybody wants to hear about. And I'm sure we'll talk more about this later with Rob. So I'm not going to get into it too much. We're going to get a little bit more of your feelings on this one now. Late in the evening, Fox decided to squeak out a trailer for Dark Phoenix. Of course, their excuse was I think it was on the Late Show with what's
Yeah,
his
Colbert or something.
no, it
Or
wasn't. It was the one
oh,
after that. It's I
oh,
think it was James Gordon, if I'm not
James
mistaken.
Gordon's. Okay.
Yeah, so that's why it was technically so late. But give me a break. Um, we didn't even get a teaser for this teaser. That's how much they're like really not trying to show this movie. And
Yeah,
the more things are going along and now that the movie's coming out, I think that we were kind of right that a lot of these last minute reshoots. I think Gary brought it up from Nerdrotic too, and when he's like, "Yeah, I think you guys are right that these last minute reshoots are all about taking things out of the movie that connect to things that Feige wants to do down the road with X-Men." But anyway, right off the bat, what did you think of the trailer? And give us your
Um,
feelings on it.
well, my first thought is when I finally turned on the sound for it. I kind of skimmed over it last night when I was watching Doomcock's stream, but my first thought is, oh god, they're doing an emo slow version of the end from the Doors, but it's a cover. Like, oh, I'm so tired of them doing these slowed down covers of old songs. Like, seriously, they're still doing this? Are we still in this trend? So that kind of annoyed me, but you know, yeah, I'm not I'm not super excited about this one. It really feels very much like the last X-Men movies that I did see
Yeah.
like the three main ones, so it did really remind
So
me
you
of.
have seen Last Stand, then? Yeah.
I didn't see Last Stand.
Oh, you didn't.
I saw 1, 2, and well, I saw 1, 2, and
That would have been
3.
three.
Oh, okay, so yeah, I saw 1, 2, and 3, and I don't remember much of them because they kind of go in one ear and out the other anyway. But God, I don't know. It looks very, to me, it looks very disappointing. It looks very much like they're just rushing this out to get it out, to get it made.
Yeah, because
Uh,
I was kind of confused. Because, you know, we've been getting rumors just left and right that New Mutants and X-Men were not going to see the light of day. And if they did, it was going to be on a streaming service down the road. And then all of a sudden we start hearing about reshoots. And then there was a trailer shown at some convention, and I think it was England. And then there was, you know, this rumor that, oh, we're going to get a trailer. It's coming out. It's coming out. And then we were just talking about a trailer possibly being attached to Venom. And then bam, here's this trailer. And in Bob Iger's interview, it kind of sounded like they were trying to say to Fox, you know, we've got a plan for this and we don't need two Marvels. And I hope they got the memo. So I'm just willing at this point. I got to believe either they're ignoring.
did we lose Tom? Did you drop out? It looks like we lost Tom for a second. Oh no. It's soundless. Yeah, we lost Tom completely. It looks like it does go on my end, so that there's at least that. I don't know what he was saying. It sounds good. Okay, you guys can hear me though. That is good. We lost Tom. Fox is trying to shut us. Yeah, Fox is not happy with us. Fox wants us to not talk about this and not say anything bad, I think, because they don't want us. They don't want us to like be complaining about their trailer. I think they want to. I think they want all these positive, happy reactions, and I think that they don't want people to kind of give honest opinions anymore. So that is at least the good thing about Google Hangouts, is that like you won't lose the stream if you lose somebody. So that is the best part. There's a buffer. Tom has time to come back. Yeah, there is a buffer. It will bounce off of my internet, so don't worry. So he does have time to come back if he needs. You can do Tom's part. I hope so. Well, you already heard what I was saying about it, which is it looks kind of boring, and I'm also not the hugest X-Men fan to begin with, too. So there's a 5-minute buffer. Good. Thank you for telling me that, Gary. Yes, all hail Disney. No, God. And with Disney and Fox, kind of at least, at least if they want to have the X-Men in the same family, at least we're gonna have Kevin Feige on top of things. So hopefully the reshoots are gonna fix this. I don't have a lot of faith that they're going to fix this though. Yeah, just sabotage. Having some buffer problems. Just deep in my voice, I had to a Tom impression. Oh yeah, and that's the thing. Disney and Fox are not nearly as bad as CBS. They don't actively attack the fans. They don't actively like go after and shut down fan projects that I'm aware of. I mean, well, I guess Disney has a little bit, but God, with CBS for sure.
Ugh.
Yay, you're
Something
back.
is up. Let me reconnect. I had to reload the whole thing.
Wow.
Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, as I was saying, I don't know where you went from there, but it was just like, okay, so like you said, Fox is either just putting this out without Bob Iger wanting them to, or this whole thing is just with the reshoots was they had to take the stuff out, was what I was saying. So yeah, my overall reaction to the trailer was meh. I've been there, done that. I seen there's a few things in there that they finally incorporated from the comic that didn't make it into Last Stand, but I'm still not very optimistic about this at all.
Yeah, that's kind of my view on it, and I'm also kind of in the superhero movie fatigue too. It's like, yep, we've already seen it, we've already done it, we already know. Wasn't she already? Did she already have her powers in one of the last movies? Because I do remember
they kind of teased it in the last movie, so we knew this was where they were headed. But yeah, she was already in the last film, not the last two though. I think she was just in the last one.
Okay.
She may have been in the one before that. I can't remember now. See, it's been a little while since I watched Apocalypse once. I'm like, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it wasn't great.
Yeah, well,
Days of Future Past twice, maybe 3 times, maybe.
And now that's the one I kind of want to see now because I've heard
that
a
one's
lot of
good
about it.
It is. It's good. It's not nearly anything like the comics, but it pulled itself together and utilized the idea and paid yes to be decent.
Yeah. Well, I saw one of my favorite characters, Johnny Sunglasses, is back. You probably aren't aware. I have this thing where I rename all the superheroes. I really do.
You know, it's just as easy to remember their
It's really not though. Once I set a name on somebody, like so you've got Captain A Head because there's a guy with an A on his head. You've got Flaming Johnny who bursts into flames. You've got Johnny Sunglasses. I always forget which movies they're into though. That's the thing, because especially when you have like different actor or the same actor playing different parts in different movies, like. Yeah, and I think that's where Flaming Johnny and Captain A Head came in, and those are kind of my main ones. But yeah, so Johnny Sunglasses is in this one. I guess it's the same guy.
Well, it's the same actor from they changed casts.
Yeah.
And then in Future Past they cross over basically, yeah.
So that's kind of my extent of my knowledge because I play all the pinball tables, and that's kind of how I know most of these characters. Is I really love a lot of what they're doing on the pinball effects tables. You know, so I knew who Adam Warlock is because of the Infinity Gauntlet table, and I know who Thanos is because of that. So like all of these Marvel movies, that's really that's where my passion is for sure, is the pinball tables. So.
No, I guess there's one way of doing it. So what did you guys think of the trailer out there? Were you impressed? Were you not impressed? Were you like, eh? Mary Ashby loved Future Past the best. Yeah, that's probably one of the better X-Men movies since X2. It's probably the second best one, with the first movie coming up third. So it'd be X2 first, and then yeah. Yeah, I got an out of Tyler Bioshock. Gave MK Ultra cancer. Holy cow.
Well, you're not supposed to stand that close to the screen, I think.
Yeah.
And don't use your microwave at the same time.
Yeah, it ain't no Logan, that's for sure. Mary Ashby, we got a meh. Do pinball reviews, says Battery.
I've done pinball gaming.
I say, is there anybody who even does pinball reviews, I wonder?
I don't know. I would love to. I'm a huge pinball collector.
Sarah Faramus says it looked meh. We got a lot of meh.
Yeah.
A lot of meh. Well,
90s X-Men
Logan,
is the best.
yeah, I guess I forgot about Logan, but I don't really count that as an X-Men movie, I guess. I don't know. I thought it was, I mean, I don't know. I guess you could. So that would be like a tie for the first one, I guess. It's more fun to listen to Pinball.
Well,
Captain
God, we could do that as a show. I have like
I like pinball, but I'm not
yeah.
like that into it.
Uh,
Shenangos, the Dragon Slayer says people say Marvel uses the same formula over and over again, but X-Men as a franchise aside from Deadpool and Logan feels much more immensely stale. Yeah, and because here we go again, we're using the same storyline we've already seen. So it's just kind of why.
yeah. Yeah. It's another and now they have superpowers and they have to yeah. I mean, James McAvoy looked pretty cool in it. He's always intense though. I kind of
Well, I didn't mind the new cast. I liked First Class. I liked, like I said, Days of Future Past and stuff like that. But Apocalypse was just a big bunch of meh, and this looks like a big bunch of more meh. uh, I'm ready for Disney X-Men, I guess. I don't know.
Tiberius Monk 84 $5 super chat. Thank you so much. I liked the trailer better than Apocalypse. I'm giving this movie the chance it deserves and judge it after it's in theaters. That's fair. That's very
Right.
fair.
Right, but you got to sit there and wonder what was the movie before all these reshoots, because this is like the third round of reshoots I think we're on now.
Wow, is it that many? I know
So,
you guys have been reporting on this for forever.
this is the second or third time, yeah. Because they have the initial planned ones, and then I think they went back for more, and then now this would be like I said, the third round, if I'm not mistaken. So,
God, Sophie Turner
Joe
is getting
Jessup
too
thought it
old.
was disappointing. Yeah, well, yeah. Well, and she wasn't even that old when they started, but yeah.
She'll be too old to have to recast her before they're done. Maybe they'll do like three more reshoots before it's released.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not like. I guess let's have a swan song. I thought Apocalypse was too much. Days of Future Past should have been the last movie anyway. That's just me. Logan and then if you did Logan after that, I guess, and Deadpool, then yeah. Because let's face it, everything that's getting crossed over, the only thing that's going to come over is going to be Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. I guarantee it. That is the only thing that's going to make any kind of crossover from Fox.
Well, and I imagine they'll keep Negasonic Teenage Warhead, and they'll keep like his little
because
band
they're
of
separate
people.
enough.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if all we get is one more Deadpool movie, and outside of that, it'll just be cameos.
Well, where else is there to go with Deadpool, though? I mean, I'm not that familiar with like the books or anything. So, does he have a huge story arc past?
Well, I mean, he's versatile enough, but the thing is the second movie costs more, made less than the first one.
Yeah.
So you go out on a bang with the third one, make it count. Don't spend as much money on it, and you know what, you aren't going to get as much on your return. So, it's called, basically ending it.
Yeah. Well, and that's like you need like a nice little trilogy. Remember when trilogies were a thing and they didn't just keep going forever?
Well, there's been talk of the X-Force movie for a while, and I think that's what 2 was setting up. So I wouldn't be surprised if we at least get an X-Force movie out of the deal, and that'll be the de facto Deadpool 3. So Deadpool kills the X-Men. Well, they have Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe as well. So yeah, could just do that. Now we can actually do it. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here. Yeah.
Collapsible says, surprised Hollywood hasn't remade Tommy. They're talking about Pinball Wizard now.
Pinball Wizard.
Don't say it, you'll get copyright. No.
I think those kind of movies should never be able to be remade. I'm sorry.
How could you remake Pinball Wizard?
Tiberius Monk 84. I'm ready for Feige to give the X-Men the treatment they deserve, starting with proper Cyclops, Rogue, Storm, etc. Keep up the great work, Mead. We will do our best. And yeah, I agree. I have a feeling we're going to see like Storm in Black Panther 2. I think I was right that we're going to start seeing X-Men characters pop up in other places first. We're not going to get an actual X-Men movie probably till, if we get one before 2022, 2023, I'll be surprised. I'm thinking more like 2025. We'll get the first X-Men movie out of Disney. And in the meantime, they'll be setting up all these other characters. We'll probably get Fantastic Four first.
Yeah. Ah, 2025. That seems so it's the song in the year
It seems like so
2525.
far away, but it's not if you think
No,
about it. And
I
I'm trying to
know.
realistically think this through. They've got X amount of movies already set up to be able to work in a character like characters that are as important and as big and vast and as many as there are in a universe like this. You're not going to be able to just dump them all in one movie. You're going to have to start introducing them in other ways. And yeah, so that's just it makes sense. There's no way you're going to have an X-Men movie for the next 5-6 years.
Well, yeah, they have so many movies on their schedule, but what is the impact of Captain Marvel going to do? Because it seems like they're trying to set her up to be like the next Captain America or Iron Man, and from what I'm hearing about everybody that I see in chat and on live streams, she kind of is kind of being expected to be, from the fan point of view, more of like an Ant-Man, more of a side character, because well, all the behind the scenes sort of Brie Larson shenanigans that she gets into, and all of the
Yeah.
marketing drama. Is that going to affect like the rest of the cinematic universe? Do you think?
It might. It depends on how the movie plays. It depends on how people react to it.
Mm.
If it comes out and it only makes Ant-Man money and people are like it's mostly meh, like they liked it but they didn't like Brie Larson, then Disney's got a problem. If the movie comes out and it's decent enough and nobody expects it to do as well as Black Panther Infinity War, don't get me wrong there, but if it does 700-800 million, gets close to that billion mark, they aren't going to flinch. It ain't going to matter what people think. So I haven't really heard any real talks of a boycott at all yet either. And I figured if there was going to be that this was going to be the movie they were going to boycott.
Well, I've been seeing a little bit of
A
comments on my
little bit, but
yeah,
nothing.
I've had I would say about
It's
probably
not organized enough.
no, it's not organized, but there's like 75% of people who are like, I'm not gonna watch it. No, I don't like Brie Larson, and of course, keep in mind my comment section are very like anti, you know, feminazi propaganda sort of stuff. So
Right.
so I can't speak for like the entire fan base, but from what I'm seeing, there's a lot of people who are not going to even give Captain Marvel a shot.
Mary Ashby, I don't think they're going to completely bag Guardians 3. I just don't think we're going to see it for a while. Um, we talked about it a little bit the other day, and I kind of figure at this point nobody wanted to take it on or they would have rushed it into production, especially if they're going to keep using Gunn's script, and it makes no sense to shut everything down and waste all the money they did. So I'm thinking nobody wants to touch it with a 10-foot pole. And or most people are right. They're either waiting for Taika Waititi or Jon Favreau or something like that to be available. And then you got to start the pre-production process all over again. So then you're looking at, whenever they do start to get that crap moving, at least, or better, especially with these movies, because with the special effects, they take a lot longer to put together than just a year. So it'll be interesting to see where they go from here. I know it's right now, I feel like they've got to be the reason this Guardians thing was such a big deal. And I've expressed this before, but it bears mentioning again, is that this now is going to throw everything they had planned into upheaval. There was a reason why Edgar Wright didn't get to direct Ant-Man, and that was because he kept pushing it off to the point where Kevin Feige had no choice but to keep changing the script on him to fit in where things were narratively in the cinematic universe now.
Mhm.
And that's one of the reasons why they kept butting heads on that. And the
Yeah.
longer this takes to get made, the longer things are going to change around it to where the less and less it's going to be the Guardians 3 we thought it was going to be. And there we were told that Guardians 3 was going to have major impact on everything going forward. So I have a feeling Guardians 3 was supposed to wrap up whatever loose ends were left open in Infinity War. And then from there, it was supposed to introduce us and take us into the cosmic phase of the MCU, which now is I think is up in the air because that was what James Gunn was supposed to oversee. It almost sounded like the plan was to have basically two Marvel Cinematic Universes going on at the same time. Feige overseeing one, James Gunn overseeing the other. That's what I got from that whole ordeal. But now it looks like that's kind of like, well, what are we going to do? So I don't know if anybody else had any other impressions out there. I don't know what impression you got from it all, Mecha. I know you're not really
Yeah.
into the superhero stuff as much. So, but
Yeah,
yeah.
but, I'm really saddened that James Gunn the whole James Gunn situation happened, and I know we've gotten into it so many times, like, there's Yeah, he said a bunch of stupid crap, and yeah, they were definitely within their right to fire him. But why didn't they look through his history before they hired him? You know, why didn't they bother to do a background check? Why don't they do background checks in
Right.
Hollywood so they can avoid this crap?
Well, and that's what I kept saying too was they should have done their due diligence up front. And it's not like anybody was like not saying, even Red Letter Media and guys like us were saying, this guy is like, you know, this guy used to make movies like Romeo and Juliet. And have you seen Super? Like, it's a great act. It's a great superhero movie, but that third act goes very dark places. It's like, and I don't know if this is the guy you want taking on your cinema. I was kind of worried about that at first, to be honest. I was like, is this in here doing this? And then after seeing the first Guardians, I'm like, oh, I totally get what they were doing now. They needed this guy to have this type of sense of humor to take this on.
Yeah.
And it was like a graduation for him up into a different world. And he knew that, and he changed his ways. So on both ends, it was Disney's fault for not doing their due diligence. I think they also jumped the gun in the end by just out and out firing him right away without any kind of investigation or really looking into the situation, because he was already gone. Because then at that point, the choices are out the door.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't matter what Kevin Feige wanted. It didn't matter what anybody else wanted or thought. You already pushed him out the door. It's too late now. Now, if they would have just said, for now, everything's being put on hold until we investigate the situation, and even if they would have let him go eventually in the end, they would have been able to have things set up and in place to where he would have been able to make a graceful exit while somebody else come in and took his spot. And would have been kind of like more of a changing of hands than just, you're the fuck out. Nobody else is going to want to take it on now because of the whole just, either they're friends with James or they don't want to be the guy to do it. It's just like the Star Wars thing. I can totally understand why nobody wants to take this on after Kathy fucked it up. It's like, would you?
No, absolutely not. Yeah, and I think, well, didn't they fire him in the middle of Comic-Con too? Like, didn't they jump up on stage and like
Yeah, it was done very poorly in my opinion. I'm not surprised he got fired. I really think in the end, even if they would have done, some kind of suspension thing and worked it out in the end, they still would have fired him. Yes, that I think would have happened. But I think if they would have just at least held off a little bit, worked things out in the background, got somebody else on board who was there and had the blessing of James to be on board, and then the fans would have, been really cool with the transition.
It kind of feels to me like they had so many complaints in HR that you have to do something quickly, because I mean, on the one hand, you've got people complaining about Kathleen Kennedy, probably. You've got people complaining about Roseanne from the television aspect. You've got all these complaints coming at you from all over the place about your properties, and I think they had to kind of, it's like the frustrated parent that has like 3 kids bickering, so they had to kind of make the snap judgment there.
Unfortunately, though, they have a problem. They still have Lasseter technically still working for them, even though he's suspended. See, at least they suspended him. Why didn't they do the same thing with Gunn? Roseanne was a little bit different situation. And as much as people want to keep bringing them in together and trying to compare the two, it's still apples and oranges, because Roseanne kind of did it to herself right then and there in real time. This was something James couldn't control.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, it was, he should have deleted the stuff years ago, or, Disney should have thought about it ahead of time, granted. But this was going to happen one way or the other, because they were preparing for this. Guys like Rian Johnson have already been deleting a lot of their stuff from the past and all that kind of stuff in preparation for this kind of crap, because it is what it is. And if you say something stupid in the past, then obviously it's going to come back to haunt you. I've said a lot of stupid shit in the past. I'm sure sooner or later it's going to come back to haunt me.
Oh, yeah. But that's the thing. Like, if Disney hires on these directors, why don't they say, okay, here's our social media policy. You need to delete anything that might be considered not family friendly, not neutral, not whatever. You need to stay off of social media if you have a problem dealing with fans. Rian Johnson, you need to, why don't they have some sort of social media policy set in place? I know that it's not that new of a thing anymore. There are people there who have grown up with social media practically their whole lives in some form or another on the internet. We can have these sort of policies. It's just like having a criminal background check if you work at a
sure
job.
they do now, yeah.
It's so frustrating. Why don't they, like, well, it's just frustrating that they can't see this and they can't anticipate something like this happening.
Well, and then you
Especially
have the other side of it too, where people are like, well, why didn't anybody do anything about the um, sex offender that worked on Predator?
Mhm.
It's like, well, first of all, a lot of times some of these casting things that happen have nothing to do directly with the studio. You either go through a casting agent or a casting company. In this case, it was an actual friend of the director's. So of course he's not going to go through a background check. You know what I mean? It's like there's certain situations where no matter how many background checks you have, it's not going to stop these people from getting jobs and stuff because it's just going to happen one way or the other anyway. But as long as these people aren't working around minors and stuff like that, then I don't think there should be a situation. But that doesn't mean that Olivia Munn shouldn't have been alerted to this situation. But I don't think she was in imminent danger. You know what I mean? So it's like I don't know if it really matters at that point, because it's like it was just one scene and it didn't have any kids involved, and the guy's been in every one of Shane Black's movies. And there's two different sides to the story that claim that he did know and then claim he didn't know. So that sounds more like it's on Shane Black than it does anybody else, if you ask me. So really, if you want to point any fingers, get pissed at anybody, or even say anything about anybody's fault, whether you want to stick up for Olivia Munn or the studio or anybody else, it's all Shane's fault for not fucking thinking ahead of time, bringing these kind of things to anybody's attention, and in the end, the way it was treated, it was just a big bunch of just stupid bullshit, and it should have never been even in the public eye. Really.
Exactly. They should have had him behind closed doors and said, "Here, let's delete these tweets for James Gunn." They should have, for the Shane Black stuff, they should have taken care of a lot of that stuff. Like,
yeah,
it's just so frustrating.
Why I said before, everybody did bring when he first was hired, and he apologized then for it.
So they knew about it anyway.
Yeah, but it was just more so, and I think that's where Batista comes in, and I totally understand whether you agree with him or not, why he feels. I can see from his point of view
Rob's
where
here.
Hey, now he shows up.
Rob, get on.
Go here soon. Yeah, here, I'll send you the link, Rob. You gotta hurry up though, because I gotta get going here soon. We're trying to get a hold of you sooner, Rob. I know we all work other jobs and stuff, so it's hard to get a hold of each other sometimes. And Random was nice enough to join me.
Yeah, I can juggle. I can juggle my schedule around. It's not a huge issue right now. And I will be going live probably today on my channel as well this afternoon. Couple hours or so.
I'm sending. Well, he just might have to just go on and do his thing because I can buy myself. I have to make a phone call. So.
Yeah.
On Tuesdays. It's Thursday. He's 2 days late. We've talked all for 45 minutes anyway, so we can give Rob his time here now.
Yeah. So I guess Shane Black's Predator trilogy is dead. Is Predator at the point just one good movie followed by a failure?
I'm not going to say anything because Andre has an editorial coming out, and I agree with pretty much everything he says, so I'm just going to let him speak. We're working on that diligently in the background, so that should be out either later today or tomorrow, maybe. More like tomorrow, probably. But yeah, we're just waiting on Rob here, so yeah. There he is.
Rob!
So Rob, while I make a phone call, you need to tell us what your feelings are on the X-Men trailer. You can start with Creed 2. We started talking about Creed. So if you happen to see the Creed 2 trailer.
No, I haven't seen the Creed 2 trailer. I was like,
okay,
wow,
so then just talk about X-Men.
Killmonger survived Black Panther and took up professional boxing. Oh, holy cow. So anyway, all right. Yeah, I was outside. If anybody knows how to keep mortar mix from clogging up a grout bag, please relay that in the chat. I'd really like to know. I was working with cement. That's always fun. Okay. Dark Phoenix. Watched it last night on the James Corden. Are you guys still there?
Yeah, we're still here. I don't want to interrupt you.
I'm on mute because I'm making a phone call to change an appointment so I can keep the show going. So stretch.
All right. Put simply, it's just too late for me to care. I would be angry, but I because it looks so bad, and most of the plot points that we had spoiled back in May seem to be true, but it's just too late for me to care. It really is.
Yeah.
I don't care at this point. You know, it's I'm waiting for Kevin Feige to take the keys and say, all right, shut up. Let me show you how it's done. So
yeah.
yeah,
I think that's what everybody's waiting on, because we know Kevin Feige is going to do, at least care about it. He's at least going to give a fuck.
Why does Simon Kinberg still think it's the 1990s? I know it's set in the 1990s, but why do you think superhero movies haven't moved past, Batman and Robin?
Yeah. So many of these X-Men movies look so similar, and so they're like without a lot of joy. I think from my problem with them is that they kind of take themselves too seriously in a lot of ways. And this looks like it's going to be another one that's just it's heavy drama, but it's a superhero movie. They don't have fun to them.
I mean, we are Tyler Bioshock Rod, he still thinks Batman Forever was the highlight of the genre. Yeah. It's this whole thing. I'm going to show superheroes not being superheroes. I want to show them being ordinary people. No, I want to see Hulk smash. Okay, call me immature, but that's what I want to see. I want to see the big fights. I want to see the fantastic powers. I want to see, the outrageous, outlandish situations. I want to see the colorful costumes. Remember that joke in the first X-Men movie? What would you prefer, yellow spandex? You can show the yellow spandex now. It's okay.
Yeah, you can shoot them in color. They're comic book movies. Comic books are bright and colorful and fun, and
then again, Disney also forgot that Solo was supposed to have color in it too.
I know. Star Wars should be in color, goddammit.
Well, that's Kathleen Kennedy, though. But that shows you the dichotomy between Kathleen Kennedy's management and Kevin Feige's management.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the other I was thinking last night. We live in an era where you can show a talking raccoon, and audiences don't think twice about it. Oh yeah, talking raccoon. Oh yeah, rocket. Oh cool. Oh, fuck yeah.
Anybody up there got any tape?
Yeah.
I want to put some tape on the death button.
Well, it's a comic book movie. You can have those things happen. You can have green women. You can have girls with antenna on their head. It's a comic book movie. You can have fun with them. And I think that's why Guardians of the Galaxy are so well received and people love them so much, because they're fun. They're entertaining, and a lot of these movies aren't. Han Solo, I'm looking at you.
Yeah. But I'm a flyer. Yeah. There's supposedly
I'm a pilot. My dad wanted to be a pilot. I'm a pilot. I'm a drunk pilot. No, wait, what?
Supposedly there is actually a bonus scene on the Solo DVD Blu-ray that shows Han being a pilot, and I'm like, yeah, that's not gonna make me want to spend more money on this than I have to.
They'll have it on YouTube. I'm sure it's probably there.
Yeah. What's sad is it actually looks like it's selling really well, because when I went to Walmart the other day, 3 of the 5 shelves were already empty.
Well, it's gonna find a more of a home on home video than it will at the movies, because you can watch it whenever you want. It's a weird thing. I mean, there's less investment. Even though it is $20.
Pandering. It's just so bad.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you, but at the same time, it is like I said, there's less investment. You don't have to leave the house. You don't have to drive to the cinema. You don't have to deal with crowds.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to pay the overpriced prices for snacks. I mean, you don't have to worry about if it's going to be sold. There's less commitment. People? Yeah, there's less commitment to watching something like that on home video. I think Sahara actually did very well on home video as well. And it didn't do very well. Yeah, but
that's still
and like I said, in about a year's time or 18 months time, when Solo is on basic cable on the FX network, when Disney owns that as well, pardon me, you're gonna have people, they're gonna be saying, hey, you know what, this isn't too bad. there. I mean, because again, you could watch it on a Saturday afternoon,
Right.
and you can, like I said, nothing else is on. Yeah, it's the middle of March. Nothing else is on. The NCAA tournament hasn't started. For random, that is sports ball.
I've already seen people saying that though, since it's been on digital and video now.
What, that it's not too bad?
Yeah, and I say the same thing every time. Every reason you're saying it's not too bad is the reason I don't like it, because that shit's so pandering. Oh, but Han shot first. It's like, yeah, but
he shot only.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing about this, and we're gonna see this if this applies to X-Men Dark Phoenix as well, is that, like I said, there's less commitment. The Han Solo movie would have been better if it was on television, if it was a TV movie.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah,
I wouldn't give as much as shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a feeling that they overextended themselves as to what that movie could do and what the right medium for it would have been. And I'm starting to think the same thing for the Dark Phoenix movie. You should just put it on television. You put it on FX network. You put it on Disney streaming or whatever it is. You let it take its lumps. You let it find its audience, because
pretty much
nobody's going to care. Nobody, like I said, I'm not even angry about the Dark Phoenix movie. The only thing that pisses me off about Dark Phoenix now is that we're not going to be able to see Kevin Feige do a version of it.
And you had to wait till 1 o'clock in the morning to watch the sumbitch.
I was up anyway.
I don't think I've ever seen you so diligently waiting for a fucking trailer in my entire life.
Yeah.
You even posted on Facebook about it. I'm like, well, boy, Rob's really waiting. He's more anticipating this trailer than he is the actual fucking movie.
I wanted to rip it apart so badly, but I'm like, I just can't at this point. I really can't. At this point, I mean, my investment level is minimal. It's flatline.
Here's your chance. You got 90 people watching right now, man.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing I hate about this. Okay, here's the main thing I hate about this. Random, have you read the Dark Phoenix saga ever?
No.
Okay, the Dark Phoenix saga is without a doubt one of the greatest X-Men stories ever, or even one of the greatest Marvel stories ever. Everybody in the chat, if you read the Dark Phoenix saga, please chime in with a yes or a no. Please, I want to get a sense of who's actually read it. So, but I mean, I'll explain to you why they're so off base in a moment. Okay, while we're waiting for that, Chris Claremont.
Well, and I did kind of make up the point, or did make up the point. May say the point earlier that I did notice a few things in the trailer that were more comic book accurate than The Last Stand was, but I still got a lot of the been there, done that feelings.
Hey Gary, what's going on? How you doing? Okay, for those who haven't read it, I'll just give the quick rundown. The Dark Phoenix saga really represents sort of a turning point for a lot of people in comics, where that these stories started to become more adult. That and the Elektra saga for Daredevil, because first thing they got wrong was they keep trying to make the Phoenix Force her mutation. It's not. It's a cosmic power that occupies her body after she gets bombarded with the cosmic waves and everything. But they keep trying to say it's her mutation because they're in such a big hurry to get to the big Firebird, or they're embarrassed to do the cosmic entity part of it. I don't know what it is. But here's the thing. As much as people hate Movie Bob, and I don't like Movie Bob as much as I did once, but he had a really good point on this. In the original X-Men, we're talking about from the early 60s, from their inception. Jean Grey was the quote-unquote girl in the group. She was the equivalent of Sue Richards. She was the girl. She was not this, and they're portraying her as Jean's a freak. Oh my God, what's wrong with her? Like, no, she was just the girl. She could pass for normal. She was, as they say, she was pure as the driven snow. She was chaste. She was virginal. She was the girl. The whole bring her home to meet your parents. type of girl. The whole, and even more so, considering her and Scott Summers did the whole chaste holding hands until the wedding night, you know. And when she became the Phoenix, there was this transformation, sort of this repressed, and like I said, it was almost became a metaphor for repressed sexuality, because you have to look at how they draw her. They used to draw Marvel Girl, the short skirts, the cute, you know, the cute little skirt with the sweater and the mask, and then all of a sudden there's this transformation, and hair wild, come hither look in her eyes, a costume that looks like naked skin and has the sash over to even emphasize more that it looks like naked skin, and then she starts experimenting with her power. You know, at first it's kind of cool, you know, hey, Jean's a lot more fun now. But then she realizes the more she experiments, the more she likes it. And the whole thing with the Hellfire Club is sort of a manifestation of that experimentation with the power and her repressed sexuality, because you see she's actually living out BDSM fantasies. I mean, she has Storm tied up in restraints at one point, and she has leather corset, thigh-high leather boots. Yeah, and Gary's right. And this loses an impact by killing her parents, because now you don't have that baseline. You don't have any representation of what she was. But again, like I said, and the more that her power manifests, and the more she starts experimenting, the more she likes it. And then there's this whole thing about power and not having the wisdom or maturity to control that power. And then it takes off, and then it becomes destructive. Doesn't she explode her house? No, she doesn't explode her house in the comic, but there is this battle that her and Xavier have, and he installs some psychic circuit breakers. Yeah, Corman, Bow Chicka Wow is right. Yes, I mean, like I said, and one of the shots actually after Charles is doing battle with her, and he manages to suppress the Phoenix power within her, is that she collapses and she's naked and she falls into Scott Summers' arms, and that sort of symbolizes sort of a rebirth into what she was before. I know I'm getting a lot into the symbolism and everything, but like I said, the whole thing is when you make it her mutation, and that she's this freak all along, then that robs of any impact that the story has, and of the whole idea of there being this of Jean being this suppressed person underneath that has this awakening, but that awakening is ultimately self-destructive. She even says in X-Men 137, the power is growing within me and part of me likes it, Scott. And I don't understand why. Like I said, we've gotten to the point now where we can do this. You don't have to necessarily go into space and introduce Shi'ar and Star Jammers. That's all just window dressing. That's all aesthetic details. You can do that. But are you trying to say to me that that audiences are going to see this movie aren't sophisticated enough to grab onto these kind of themes and kind of ideas in a story like this? Because I think they are. I think Simon Kinberg thinks that the audience is still stupid. I really do. I think he thinks that the audience is still too immature to be able to grasp an idea like this. Maybe that's me. Maybe I'm wrong here.
No, that's what it sounds like. That this is kind of reminiscent of a lot of sort of coming of age stories that aren't superhero related. And those tend to be more for the more mature audience, and yeah, it kind of does sound like that they want to make these for like a PG-13 audience, and they want to dumb it down because they want the audience to feel smart, but at the same time they're kind of insulting your audience's intelligence, you know, because half of your audience are smarter than you realize and half your audience are dumber than you realize. So just make something smart and good and intelligent and give us the well-developed characters. Yeah,
Dr. Meatball is right though. There's a part in the comics where she actually destroys a planet with 6 billion inhabitants without so much as a second thought. She consumes the star's energy, and she destroys a planet with 6 billion inhabitants. And I remember the panel that says, you know, for those on the far side, you know, death comes in their sleep, so they never knew what. But I'm like, I can understand them not wanting to do that, and they didn't do it in the animated version. But there's a way to do that. You can have the planet be uninhabited, and like, oh my god, what if this was an inhabited world? Or what if she does this, and what if she does this to Earth's star? You know, I mean, there's ways to do this. And it just seems to be they don't want to, they don't think that this is going to, that this type of story would be well received, or they're just, I don't know, what is the budget on this? They can't be constrained by budget anymore.
Well, I imagine, how many times we already talked about this. They had like what, 3 reshoots?
Yeah, they're still in reshoots right now.
Yeah.
Sophie Turner was actually on court, and so obviously she's, you know, her part's done.
Exactly, because I said I think there was originally the planned reshoots, which is on every movie. They have a few weeks of reshoots planned. Then they went back for reshoots back in, what was it, April, May, June, something like that.
Yeah.
And then now just here recently, yeah. So that, I think that would be 3 times they went and do reshoots. If you don't count the first time, then it's still 2, which is not good. But like I was saying in the beginning, I think it's either got to be because they're trying to reshoot things to take out stuff that Disney doesn't want them to have in there because Feige wants to use it down the road, or Lord knows, because I think Bob wasn't even sure they were going to release this, or doesn't really want them to release it from what he said in his interview. But I could have read that wrong too. I mean, he doesn't specifically say it. What is your feeling on that?
I think there might be something to that, where there's certain elements that they want to take out because I think part of it is that, like I said, they're afraid it won't work. Some of it won't work, but mostly I think there are some elements that are being reshot because of consistency problems. I don't think they're going to fold this into.
Well, didn't they take out all? Well, of course not. No. Like I said in the beginning, I said there's nothing that's going to come. And Bob kind of said that in the interview. He also kind of said it with the whole. There's no need for 2 Marvels. Nothing is going to cross over from the Fox Marvel movies into the new ones. I said the only thing that might make the leap is Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, and that's it. And like Random brought up, they might bring a Negasonic Teenage, whoever else is in the X-Men from the X-Men universe that's in Deadpool, and that's it.
Yeah,
I said, that'd be the only likely scenario, and that's just because they'll have Deadpool on his own.
Yeah, Gary's right. The Skrulls were supposed to be in this, but I don't think they're going to be in.
And they took they took like all references to the Skrulls out in the last round of reshoots, not these ones, the last round. So, and that's the thing, is we did reports on leaks, and the thing was that some of the things matched up with the trailer, but we also have to remember there's been so many reshoots since we did those leaks that change now. So who knows? Yeah.
Mary Ashman said, how did she kill her parents? She kills her mother in a car accident. She actually moves the car into an oncoming truck.
And that's kind of where I said, I seen they did a few things closer to the comic than Last Stand didn't, but yeah.
Yeah, but like I said, in the X-Men comics, both their parents are still alive. And like I said, there's a point before where she returns to her home as Dark Phoenix, and who's there? Would you believe it's the Wicked Witch of the West? And
my recollection from it is mostly from the cartoon, so it's like I have just very vague memories of the original story.
Oh, go out and get the trade paperback. It is phenomenal.
Oh yeah, it's one of those I plan on at some point.
Absolutely,
I might even have it, but I don't think I do. I think that's one of them I don't have yet. But
yeah, the biggest problem with this is that this movie is coming too late. I mean, this could have easily been built up to a three movie arc. Easily, very easily. X-Men, the Dark Phoenix.
Well, and I can't imagine Feige being like, I want to do Dark Phoenix. I can't imagine him not wanting to do it, I mean.
Oh, yeah.
So I can't believe that this thing isn't just getting squashed, to be honest with you.
Yeah, like I said, Mary Ashley, yes, that's right. Telepathic Xavier's, thank you. Yeah, okay. But, I can't help but think now that this is somebody's last middle finger to Disney before they go, you think you're going to do Dark Phoenix? Screw you. Thanos versus Dark Phoenix could have been fun. Yeah. My big thing is, where do you go with the X-Men when they finally do become a part of the Marvel Universe? If you can't do this, I mean, there's other storylines. But at the same time,
before you came on, I brought up that it's going to be probably a good 5-6 years before we get an actual legit X-Men movie out of Disney.
Oh, yeah.
And in the meantime, what we'll see is a lot of characters probably popping up in other movies, setting them up so that when we do get to X-Men, we're not introducing a shit ton of characters right off the bat. My other prediction, and I didn't bring this up before, but I brought it up in prior ones, is I bet they're going to go with the female version of Wolverine, so they don't have to compete with Logan. I'm also curious if we're going to see a whole shit ton of the big named X-Men for a while either. I think Storm will probably be one of the few, just because I have a feeling that she'll pop up in Black Panther 2 for some reason. It may be just a young version of her too.
Actually, Ambrosio Giovanni, he brought up the second movie could have been Jean being corrupted by the Hellfire Club. You've already introduced the Hellfire Club, didn't they? In First Class. I mean, obviously, I don't think they wanted to do this originally. Or maybe, I don't know. I didn't, because it's been a while since I've seen First Class. But it seems to me that you made First Class without really having an arc. Oh, we'll just do this, see if it works. And then if it works, we'll do these other two. And yeah.
It's like they're just crapping these out just to get them over with, though. That's what it really feels like.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Let me see if I can take a look at the budget for this.
Then, like New Mutants, I'm surprised they just haven't released that. I don't know why they just didn't, to me. I don't know.
Because they don't want to market it. They don't want to.
Should have been out for Halloween since they put it out this far. The Marilyn Manson song already came out for it. The soundtrack's probably already in stores if the Manson song came out for it, unless it's on his album or something. I have no idea if somebody out there knows. I don't know how they even work albums anymore with all this digital crap.
Well, if it's digital, they can just buy the song. Yeah. They can just buy the song.
So I just buy old music anymore.
I know, that's me. I'm still buying CDs sometimes every now and then.
Post-production, I'm looking at release. No word on no. I don't think there's anything regarding the Dark Phoenix budget, but it's got to be over $150 million.
But just to show how old I am, the last CD I just bought was Smokey and Bandit 1 and 2 soundtrack. That's not true. That's not true. Yeah, that's not true, Rob. Actually, I got my hands on a box set of the Beatles stereo recordings for only $40. That was all it cost me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was like almost with shipping and handling, but still, that's like third of the price almost.
Yeah. Actually, I got Egypt Station, the new McCartney one, which is actually really good. If you haven't listened to it,
I should
give it a listen.
I should just to pick it up.
Yeah. But Scott Mendelson is saying Dark Phoenix trailer takes a huge risk with the X-Men series. I haven't read this article yet, but actually, I don't think they're taking a risk at all. I think this is probably the most you could. Actually, okay, hold on. X-Men United. Back in 2000, the idea of live action itself is an event. 75 million. Yeah, they only spent $75 million on the first X-Men movie. Can you believe that?
That doesn't sound like a lot. But
there's
also only. You act like it. You know what year that came out? Only $75 million was probably one of the most fucking expensive movies of all time at that time. Because Terminator 2 was the most expensive when it came out, and it was what, $60-70 million. So, and then Titanic would have been the most expensive after that, and that was like almost $200 million, I think. And then I've lost count since then, because a lot of these Star Wars movies have been well more than that, and Justice League and all that kind of crap. Those three have probably been the top costers.
Well, I can't find any information about the budget, but I don't think this is taking a risk. I think it's playing it safe. I think it's Simon Kinberg. Does Simon Kinberg
actually got to lose?
Yeah, at this point, yeah. At this point, it's gonna be.
This isn't even about the money anymore. It's about saving face. You got to. I think that's the point you're getting to, Rob. Is that with Kinberg involved, this is all about saving face at this point. This has nothing to do with money.
Yeah, and this is a stepping stone for Kinberg too. I mean, he's directing it. He wrote it. He can prove that. He can try to prove he's a major player, major director in Hollywood, but I don't think this is going to do it. From the writer,
not
from the writer of Fant Four Stick. Yeah, that's not exactly a big selling point there, Simon.
From the guy who came in and supposedly destroyed Fan Four Stick and really fucked up Apocalypse.
Yeah. comes the conclusion to the X-Men saga that you didn't ask for and you don't care about.
Since he's not done taking a shit on you yet, here we go.
Get ready, here it comes. Phrasing. But
Katie?
You thought that last load was it?
Load. You said load.
That was just a test fart.
Then the main director of the X-Men movies run away from the director's chair. I think it was Bryan Singer. The whole thing of the
Bryan Singer, and I don't think Fox would let him touch it with a 10-foot pole now.
No.
I'm surprised he still has credit for Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah. But
which is fucked up because I think he's got another movie he's working on now anyway. And it's like, how does this guy keep getting jobs? But yet James Gunn gets fired from Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Man.
Now you guys understand why I get so like I do about that. I'm not sticking up for what James did, but there's people
double
who
standard.
flat out fucking accused Bryan Singer of some pretty bad shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. James Gunn did not commit a crime. He made a bad joke.
As far as we know, there has not been any accusations against the man.
Yeah.
Bryan Singer, on the other hand, yeah.
Destiny Captain, yeah. C2 was $100 million at the time. That was big.
Yeah.
Big money to spend. And that also did something that you never saw before, was that total CGI.
I wonder if that covers. Yeah. Well, not only that, I wonder if it covers the advertising costs.
Oh no! Usually the production budget. I think somebody.
I doubt that because that movie had to have
down.
a huge campaign.
Oh yeah,
that
somebody
movie
broke
was
that down
fucking
and
everywhere.
you usually want to like double the cost of production once you include the advertising or something. I think, or at least 40%.
Anywhere that year without seeing something Terminator 2.
Absolutely, that was everywhere. The music, the Guns N' Roses tie-ins, yeah, everything.
Dr. Meatball says Bryan Singer is Captain Over.
It's okay, Tom. Yeah,
I still like that song.
Dr. Meatball, yeah. Bryan Singer is Captain Over. Jimmy, do you ever been in a Turkish prison?
But we got to wrap this up, folks. I got a lot to do. I got another job, you know.
By the way, MK Ultra, I read that put dishwashing detergent in the mortar mix. So I mean, I don't know, I'll give it a try. Anything is possible. All right. Okay, if you like what we do here, check us out on Patreon.
All 94 of you. Thanks for just stopping by. We really appreciate this.
Yeah.
We're trying to do this more often. We're trying to get a little bit of a schedule going to where everybody gets a chance to join us.
Yes.
So we're trying to do some during the day, some during the night, the afternoon. So we'll try and get an actual set schedule though. And we also don't like to step on Nerdrotic or Doomcock or Mecha Random when she does her stuff too. So because she got to eat.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. We'll probably be going live sometime this afternoon.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, like I said, check us out on Patreon. Bonuses, early notification, mini documentaries, lost episodes, outtakes, bloopers.
That's not having no ticks in there.
Yeah. Yes. Behind the edge making of videos, all kinds of good stuff. You can support the channel for as little as $1 a month. And if you don't have the means to support us on Patreon, just click subscribe here, click subscribe to the main channel, click subscribe to Overlord DVD, subscribe to Nerdrotic, subscribe to Random's channel. Isn't that right, Random?
Yeah, I have a channel. You can click my name in the chat.
Yes.
I like how you say that. Yeah, I have a channel.
Yeah,
I did too.
I don't like being a self-promoting.
Somewhere in a drawer here.
I know, because sometimes when people are like, it gets really too much when people are like, come subscribe to me, like, click, donate, and like, I don't want to be that. So
no, you can get away with it.
I know, but I don't want to like cross the line of being too overly self-promoting too.
Well, just say like Harvey, pound me too, pound me too.
Yes, hashtag click me too.
Okay, but anyway, thank you everybody for
love what Random does with us here. You should check her out on her channel. Definitely, she's almost every day on there doing something.
Yeah,
griping about something. It's in a drawer somewhere.
I yelled at CBS for like 10 minutes and cussed them out pretty royally about the Stage 9 thing. So
that's all 10 minutes. Oh boy.
Oh, my voice was going and
all right, everyone. Again, thanks for joining us. So go check out Captain April's channel, please. Yeah, he
needs his monetization back. He lost monetization, so he needs to get back up to 1,000.
Yeah, we got to have him on at some point, Tom. Captain April, he's good. Yeah, I've seen. I like his show. Yeah, a lot of people get out of it. Go check out Nerdrotic, and everybody be good to each other, and we will catch you next time.
Bye.